magnitude, they have the media, they have the international alliances and connects to create it as an issue. Please understand that the US is so strong right now as far as the Catholic belief institution is concerned, while there are evangelicals as well. The people from the US administration that have raised the concern on the FCRA were all Catholics.
J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Riley Moore. Now this is interesting. Why? Because Riley Moore is the US...
if I can tell my viewers, Riley Moore is that, I think, congressman.
He's a congressman, he's a US representative.
And he said that, India is going to persecute Christians by
destroy the churches. And this will hamper the India-US deal. Now, Riley Moore is a very interesting character because he comes and he represents a state called West Virginia or Virginia. Okay? In 2014-2015, when the Indian government had initiated investigation into the fund flow in Indian NGOs, and which is why they came down from 40,000 to almost 16,000 10 years later, they had realized that there was one place in the US. US was one of the largest donors. The people of the United States were one of the largest donors into foreign funding into India. Of all the Christian funding groups, or that were receiving money, the Christian NGOs, West Virginia contributed 75% of the money to Christian Indian NGOs, West Virginia. And where does Riley Moore come from? West Virginia, right? So I can understand why he's having a problem. But again, while Riley Moore or organizations like the Believers, you remember there was a pastor called K.P. Yohannan, and he was the head of the Eastern Believers Church. In 2021, the ED raided 26 locations of his. It was reported by media and even the ED sources at that point of time that there was 7,000 crore unaccounted for money. Please look at the institutions like the Church of South India, the Church of North India, and look at their balance sheets and their unaccounted for money which is still under investigation. So, now look at this scenario. And again, I'll give you another statistics.
These are the churches that are involved in conversion activities, let's put it this way.
Let's just say that they are not exactly pro-Indian government right now. They're certainly not pro-Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma. That's why a Pastor Punya, who Rahul Gandhi supports in the South, was the person who said, I find myself cursed to put my feet on Bharat itself. It's a cursed land. That's the kind of language this man has used. Right? So some of these pastors have been going around demonizing the Hindu faith. Please understand one thing. The teachings of Jesus does not allow you to demonize anybody. Jesus spoke about love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. That essentially is a principle very similar to Sanatan Dharma. After that, whatever has happened has not been Christianity. It has been churchanity. The institution has taken the actual teachings of Jesus in certain cases, like you're seeing with the Believers. The biggest problem for the Roman Catholic Church is not Hinduism. It is the believers themselves. Because many Catholics are moving to joining the Believers. Many Catholics are going and joining the Presbyterians and other people of different faith because they're losing faith in the Catholic Church. Now, interestingly, of the 200,000 crores that came in as foreign funds, between 17 to 21% comes to the churches, to the Christian NGOs. Which means almost 80% is not Christian NGOs. But the biggest lobby was the Christian lobby. Why? Most of the fundings are coming to generic NGOs that have nothing to do with religion. The second largest funding are coming into the Islamic NGOs. And the Christian NGOs receiving money of the total $200,000 US dollars in the last 10 years are the Christian NGOs. So why of every other NGO? Because the FCRA is not against Christians. No, it talks about every NGO. So why was the Catholic Church and the Christian lobby most incensed by it? You are only receiving 20% of their money. Yet you are the one that opened your mouth the most. Why? That is why I believe that the Catholic Church is taking this forward, because it's got a political axe to grind with the Modi government.
Basically, it is against the right-wing, so-called Hindu-leaning government, Hindutva government. It's simple as that.
See, it is, Modi can go.
It is anti-BJP.
Modi can visit the churches and they will be well appreciated. Modi can go and celebrate Easter and Christmas and it will be well appreciated. But I can tell you without a doubt that if the Catholic Church gets an opportunity to pin this government in the corner, whether Modi visits them in the church 100 times, it won't make a difference.
They will do it.
They will continue to raise. Please see the Catholic Church not as somebody propagating the teachings of Jesus. They are an institution, and politically they do have a say. So people, the Catholics, the Christians in Goa will have an issue because they think everything that's happening in the transformation that's happening in Goa, certain issues that have been so-called exaggerated, they are going to be the voice because they are the most powerful voice. To a Hindu, he doesn't know the difference between a Catholic or an evangelical. He sees a Christian. So when they go converting, they go on thinking that these are the Catholic people converting as well. So when he sees a Christian, a Hindu who's against conversion sees a Christian, he blames the Catholic as well. So the Catholic gets incensed that, oh, you are targeting the Christians. The Catholics themselves don't know the difference between the evangelicals, between the believers. They are just realizing all this now. I think that the leaders of the Catholic Church in India decided to team up with the US Christian lobby and the US deep state, whether intentionally or unintentionally, to pin the Modi government down on FCRA, because the FCRA is a non-issue. Coming back to the clause that everybody was having a problem with.
The property.
The property confiscation. I don't know if they read that clause properly, because it does not talk about the government coming and just taking away your property without hearing you. There is a process to hearing you. There's a process to you saying, okay, you have to meet so and so guidelines. I don't think it's unfair for anybody to demand for the guidelines. And if your property is lying vacant and you have not fulfilled the guidelines that are there, so what is wrong if the government hands it over to somebody or takes it over and runs the same NGO aspects that you are talking about doing? You have not maintained. And why is it so difficult for somebody to maintain? If as a common man, we are asked every time to file our GSTs, to do our income tax properly, to ensure everything is in order, why can't an Indian NGO also follow the same? Why are you so incensed? And that is where I have a problem, because I'm not able to understand why are they getting incensed about it. Why is the Christian community incensed when only 17 to 21% is the value coming to you? And I'm saying 17 to 21 because sometimes it's 17, sometimes it's 21, and sometimes it's in between. So it is nothing but politics that they have put them on the corner. The sad part is that the Indian government has decided now to take the JPC route. And why do I say sad? Because I have a large network within the US lobby, right? I know that they are celebrating at this moment. They believe that they have cornered the Modi government on the FCRA. Yes, it will take a year, it might take 2 years, or it might take 6 months. The point of the matter is, you will see that they will get emboldened by this step. They are not going to take a step back. You can reason out and say delimitation, yes, it's important. But so was this. Because your biggest problem in this is there is no transparency to where the 200,000 for the last 10 years is coming in. People don't give you money unless they want something from you. So I think the Modi government's back step is going to not quieten down the opposition. It's going to get the opposition even more emboldened to say we have cornered you. And please understand the difference between the Muslim lobby and the Christian lobby. The Muslim lobby is an aggressive lobby. They are wild. They cannot be controlled. The Christian lobby is not that. The Christian lobby is a very intelligent lobby. They know politics, they know how to play politics, they know how to influence politicians, they know how to use global influence to influence politicians in India, and that's exactly what happened. In the last 1 month, there are more focus of the US representatives on India than any other country. Why?
For what?
Why was the FCRA so important to the US?
Exactly. Why?
I mean, the US has FARA. You cannot put foreign funds into the US without having a sort of scrutiny. So why have they been talking about it? Why does Marco Rubio think it's important to go to the missionaries of charity? Why is J.D. Vance talking, indirectly talking about the FCRA? Why has Riley Moore come on the FCRA? Have any Indian member of parliament spoken about laws in the US? No. So what gives US the right to influence or try and influence our laws? What is the difference? Tell me the difference between FARA and FCRA, no? It's the same, almost the same, except for the terminology is used. I think there is a larger game in play. I said right at day one on the CJP protest that happened, when I saw that the huge contingent of Catholic priests and certain evangelicals at the protests happening in certain parts of the country and in Delhi, like in Goa and other parts like Manipal and all that, I was certain of one thing, that the CJP protest was not about NEET. The CJP protest was about the FCRA. I'm saying this over and over again for the last 1 month. I've said it even before, that you don't understand what the US lobby wants. The US lobby has two agendas, Joyita. The first agenda is we have to corner Modi. If we have to corner Modi, there is only one person we have to bring in check, and that is Amit Shah. The protests turned violent in Delhi, and what were they demanding?
Amit Shah's resignation.
Correct. Did they ever demand Amit Shah's resignation before?
No.
No. You had Shaheen Bagh, did they demand?
No.
You had farm laws protests where people actually died?
No.
Why is it this time? Right? They asked for Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation, we got him to resign. I told certain sections of the media, as soon as that happened, I said that's not the person they are targeting. They are targeting Amit Shah. Now I'll tell you why they are targeting Amit Shah. So according to the US intelligence and the US deep state assets that we are connected with, and we are connected with some of them, they believe, and this is their understanding, that Modi's successor will be Amit Shah. Amit Shah will take forward Modi's idea of executing the agenda that Modi, Amit Shah and the team has drawn. So it does not change anything. It remains the same. More so, Amit Shah has been so tactfully working in the Home Ministry in certain areas like the Naxalite problem. Again, you had certain religious leaders that were involved in the Naxalite problems where the Christian community took an offense to. I don't want to take name and give them that credit. Okay? But you also had the Kashmir issue. You had various other issues, the drugs, Manipur, which all happened again. Manipur was being turned into a religious issue when it was not. It was narcotics, right? So if you weaken Amit Shah, Modi automatically gets weakened. So I believe in the next 6 months, the US deep state is not going to target Modi. They're going to target Amit Shah. Now the taking of the bill back is not going to be targeting Modi again. They're going to say Amit Shah was weak in order to enforce the FCRA or get the government to enforce the FCRA, and you will see. By doing this, it is the supporters of the BJP itself who believe that FCRA should have been brought in that will start losing faith in this government. First of all, they lost faith in this government when the UGC guidelines were brought in.
Yes.
Right? And the general category people were incensed. They are the largest voter base of the BJP. Now, you had them agree to Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation. When they were asking for Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation during the UGC guidelines fiasco, they never gave it. They were mostly protesting online and few on the streets. but they didn't turn it violent. So the genuine right-wingers and the supporters of Modi and the BJP will never turn a situation violent. But those CJP protesters that were there, I said that several times, that 2,873 people who were of criminal elements over there were basically there to turn that issue violent because they wanted a death toll. They wanted people to die. They wanted Amit Shah to be pinned. What was Rahul Gandhi's first statement?
Yeah.
He asked for Amit Shah's resignation. How come the same Rahul Gandhi and team, how come the Cockroach Janata Party are not in Jharkhand? Jharkhand is also the same issue.
And violence over there by the police is much more than what happened in
Correct.
Delhi.
So why are they not there? The whole Shadyantra, as I would say in Hindi, is to target. And I'm telling you, it is not ended. The FCRA now will...
What happens now? Now that it has been sent to a JPC, what exactly are you expecting that's going to happen?
I think it's going to be delayed by at least a year.
A year?
Yeah.
And will there be attempts by the opposition to dilute it?
Yes. They have a serious issue as far as the...
Because right now the opposition is saying withdraw it completely. It's as if the FCRA does not exist.
Well, that's interesting, no? Because Congress were the ones that bought the FCRA law. Okay. The BJP just tightened and went after the questionable NGOs, which had to shut down. Has the funding stopped? No. The funding's increased by 44%. So where's the problem? I think it's a political opportunity that they have used to target Modi and Amit Shah. Amit Shah in particular. I keep saying that again, that they want a death toll. They want a situation where there is violence. And why did they choose Delhi? Why was there so much of violence in other parts where there were protests? There were protests for the CJP protests in Goa. There was no violence there. There was some violence in Bihar. Right? Why Delhi is the violence required? The target is Amit Shah. If they have to break Modi, they have to break Amit Shah. Once Amit Shah is broken, then they feel that Modi is isolated. And then we can break him. Initially they thought, let's take Modi out. If you remember the Operation 37 that we broke the story, where there was an attempt at the age of 75 to ensure Modi resigns or steps down and puts in a successor, where 37 members of parliament that were connected to the BJP were going to ensure that Modi moves by the so-called 75-year yardstick that he himself had put.
Was that from inside the BJP?
Yes.
Okay.
There were 37 members of parliament that were connected to the NDA.
Parliament.
Yes.
Okay.
So they're a part of the BJP NDA. More NDA is what I would say.
Not so much inside BJP, but yeah.
Yeah, there were considerable amount from there, but generally NDA. Okay. But that didn't happen because we sort of spilled the beans before it was about to take off. I believe, and at that point of time, Joyita, Donald Trump told the CIA in a meeting, in a closed-door meeting. I even had the dates of that meeting, okay, which was then later on they changed their plan, which was September 4th, 2025.
Right. What did he say?
That he's giving them 1 year to put the Modi government on a mat.
Trump said that.
That's what he said. And I've said it all out almost 8 months ago. And the 75-year yardstick was one of that. It was called Operation 37 at that point of time. The whole idea now is they realize that even if you target Modi, it will be Amit Shah and the others who will save him. Right? But if you start getting death tolls in any of these protests, then Amit Shah becomes weak.
And that is what they are basically striving for.
Yeah.
Kill people.
Ask yourself just one question. Dharmendra Pradhan resigned. No? So
Even then, what is going on?
Technically, it should have been over.
Exactly.
That's what your demand was. In any of those demands, was there a demand for Amit Shah's resignation? Not at the CGP level, no?
No. And after that, they have been basically the opposition, particularly Congress, I would say, not so much any other party. Rahul Gandhi has been holding the parliament hostage, saying Amit Shah must resign.
Correct. That's exactly what I'm saying. See, Joyita, I come from a skill set that sees this at a distance. and you know my networks, okay? I'm without a doubt telling you that the rollback of the FCRA, which might seem strategic to the government, and I'm sure they have the wisdom for it. I'm not questioning their wisdom. All I'm saying is the game is not FCRA. The game is something else. They're weakening you step by step, okay? When you want to create a sort of onslaught on somebody, you don't just go and stab him. You slowly wear him out, and then you come in for the kill. This FCRA protest, the CJP protest is all a wearing out activity for the final onslaught, which will happen within the next 6 to 7 months.
How do you, because you see UP elections coming up, that's a very important state. Do you think, are you anticipating something happening before that? Or which way do you think UP elections will be going? Because you see, because if BJP loses that state, that will be an immense weakening for...
So there will be a lot of attempt, not only in UP, there will be a lot of attempt to put BJP on the mat in all the states that BJP is strong. There's Goa, there's Manipur and all these other places. But I think the whole period over the next 6 to 7 months is going to be very critical for India. The US wants India to sign the US trade on their terms. Yes. India is not willing to sign that. One of the biggest problems of the US trade deal is that US wants to dump so much of corn into India, and India is not saying yes. US overall in Asia, and particularly our in the Indian subcontinent, they want a Christian nation. I said it 2 years before, and then 1 year after I said it, Sheikh Hasina said the same thing, no? That they want to carve out a Christian nation. When the Manipur situation erupted, that was the first thing I noticed. That it is very unusual that these patterns are being forming, and my job is to see patterns and then connect the dots together, right? I see a pattern that is happening, and now with the Christian lobby being emboldened, you will see immense focus on Punjab and Goa. Immense focus. They will get emboldened as we come into the elections. I'm not saying that's wrong for them to be emboldened. I have no problem who you vote for. You can choose Congress, you can choose BJP, you can choose neither of them. What I'm concerned about is that FCRA was a non-issue. But you turned it into an issue, and you were successful enough to get it to go to JPC. So obviously there is a political intent that none of us are seeing very clearly. And that is what I see as a problem. FCRA and I'm telling you, the FCRA's noise did not start now. It started almost 3-4 months ago. That's why in May, if you see, it was the US guy, Smith by the name, who brought this fact out that we should question the FCRA. A US representative called Smith was very worried about it. This was in the month of May. They even knew the dates when the parliament session was going to happen, which many parliamentarians didn't know at that time. So the US was very closely watching the FCRA. Their assets in India and inside the Indian government were keeping a tab on FCRA because they realized it was an issue that they could use to create a narrative.
Well, you said assets in the Indian government.
Yeah, there are assets.
Give us an idea, without naming names, of course.
No, I won't give you names, but of course, if they had the information that there was going to be a parliamentary session which nobody knew, because this came out way back in
How many of our bureaucrats are compromised? Because after all of them, I would say, want to send their children for studies to the US. They want their green cards for their children and all their visas and all. What percentage of our bureaucrats are compromised?
You see, Johita, in statecraft and spycraft, that America, that China will have assets in India is not something that we should be surprised about. What we need to be smart about is to identify who those assets are and keep a watch on them, right?
Have they been identified?
I think that's the process of the system to do that. The system is doing what it has to do. But what is surprising is, if you see even on the CJP protest, the US embassy had already issued warning on the areas that there would be problem.
Right.
Right? How was that known to them? Like, everything was supposed to be peaceful, no? Technically, even if they were marching to the parliament, it was supposed to be peaceful. You don't put out an advisory saying avoid it and avoid those specific areas where the problems really took off. So I think we are not understanding. Then you go a step further. We had Jack Dorsey's bit chat that became the communication tool rather than anything else that we could have traced or tracked.
Right.
So how were these guys using it? Then you have Abhijit Dipke. Abhijit Dipke was a US return. Are you telling me as soon as Smith put out the information that we should challenge FCRA, within the next 2 weeks Abhijit Dipke found the Cockroach Janata Party? And suddenly they got so many people following them from other parts of the world but India. I mean, what do people in other parts of the world have to do with India at all? And that is where this is completely, the FCRA was not the issue at all. The issue is targeting Amit Shah. Now that Amit Shah the government has taken the FCRA a step back and put it to GAPC, the BJP supporters and the IT cell will talk about it being strategic. And I understand that. The US will not see it as that. The lobby in India will not see it as that. They will see it as a victory. And that victory will give them even more strength to target the government. It's not going to come down. That's how I see it. So far in whatever I've said, I've never been proved wrong. Because I don't take sides, Joyita. I only see the crumbs that fall, lie down, and then I put the crumbs together and make the bread. You know, I put it together and I can see what's going to happen. And I'm telling you, over a period of time, the pressure that will be mounted to target Amit Shah will be very, very high.
How do you think the government should respond to this situation?
I think the government's biggest weakness was its inability to communicate to the Christian community right at the onset of what they were going to do with the FCRA. It gave them an opportunity to wrangle this situation and create a narrative around it. So many of my Christian friends who genuinely support the BJP are completely incensed with the BJP, thinking that they were going to attack the Christians and the churches. And these are neutral guys. These are not anti-BJP guys. There are several that are. But they were also disturbed by it because that's the narrative that went out. That's the narrative that went out to people who are related to us as well, who were wondering why they're going to target the churches. Why do they want details from the NGOs and all? They are not going to sit and understand the finer nuances of national security. No, that's not their job. That's our job. They are going to only be seeing the Instagram post or the WhatsApp video that has come to them that talks about them targeting the Christians. And I'm saying 17 to 21% is the funds that you're getting for FCRA. So why were they incensed? Why were they so upset? They were not upset with the CAA. They were not upset with the farm laws, which were larger issues. Why did they get upset with the FCRA? In fact, I think it should have been the Muslim lobby that gets almost 35 to 40% of that money that should have been more incensed. But they didn't come out on the streets. They were not the ones creating the problem. They were not the ones lobbying.
Because I think this property confiscation canard that was spread, I think that was the primary trigger for the Christian community.
Correct. Because at the end of it, even though they have a lot of properties, and the Catholic Church has got immense properties across the country and across the world, that makes it one of the largest asset holding institutions in the world, maybe that was the reason. But I don't think that's the only reason, because they were smart enough to read the fine print of the FCRA, and the Catholic Church is not going to sit down without exhausting every legal opportunity available to them to challenge any tribunal or investigation report. Right? I think it's political. I'm 100% sure there's something coming which the US lobby is trying to corner the Modi government. But I know he's the guy who's the target. I know it, I can see it, and I believe they want a death toll. So now they're going to look at the next opportunity for them to get a death toll. Rahul Gandhi asked for a debate. Amit Shah is asking for a debate. Rahul Gandhi is not there. So they don't want that debate. They want him out. It's as simple. They will find anything to do now. If they don't get now they move back on FCRA, they'll find something else. But they will target him.
And in this, the Catholic Church in particular is a tool, is a weapon that the US deep state is using, and of course willing tool, I would say.
So they've used the Catholic Church and the evangelical groups primarily to scuttle the FCRA. The scuttling of the FCRA, in many people's mind, including the Catholics, the non-Catholics and the larger population of Indians, other than the hardcore BJP supporters, is what happened. Why did they take a step back? So now the government and its supporters will have to spend the next 7 to 10 days to 15 days trying to explain the nuances of it. They didn't need to do that. If the narrative was controlled right at the start, they wouldn't have done this at all. I'm still saying, and I'm asking everyone, please tell me the issue of FCRA. There is no issue. It's a non-issue.
Yeah, and think of the kind of propaganda that has happened, which made J.D. Vance call our Prime Minister. And I'm certain it was all about FCRA and nothing else.
They're all worried about FCRA because...
And I'm certain they must have... Are they threatening us anyway? We know they're planning to sanction us and all those things. And the thing is that, what should India do now?
So I think India needs to understand one thing very clearly. That the US is not our friend.
Oh, certainly not.
Okay. The US wants a Christian nation in the Indian subcontinent. They have a Muslim nation, which is Pakistan, Bangladesh. They have a Hindu nation in Nepal and India. They don't have a Christian nation in the area. They are certainly going to look at the Indian nation. You will see flare-up of issues in the northeast again. They want to take all the problems and bring it to Delhi. Because they cannot touch Amit Shah in any other place other than Delhi. They tried even in Manipur conflict, Amit Shah was not the target. It was Modi that time, right? Why is it suddenly changed? Please see what is happening. Because they realized that the strength of Modi is Amit Shah. And that's where he has to go.
Well, Savio, that was a very interesting and worrying discussion, because what you're talking about has serious implications